A woman asks her partner, "Do you even care about me?" The man freezes. He does care deeply. He works hard, provides, stays loyal. Yet here he is, blindsided by a question that feels like a trap. If he says yes, she might challenge him. If he says no, disaster. So he stumbles, frustrated, wondering, why does she do this? Why test me when she already knows the answer? And just like that, the silent war begins. Here's the unsettling truth. Women test men not to break them, but to see if they'll bend. It's a paradox. The more a man tries to prove himself, the more she questions him. The more he reacts defensively, the more she withdraws. Feels like a game, but it's not. It's an ancient, unconscious ritual, wired into the feminine psyche for survival. Think about it. Why does she ask, "Where is this going?" when she already senses the answer? Why does she pick fights after intimacy when he thinks everything is fine? Why does she challenge his decisions even when she trusts him? These aren't arbitrary acts of chaos. They're checks, subtle, instinctive probes to measure his strength, his consistency, his emotional resolve. Most men fail these tests, not because they're weak, but because they misunderstand the purpose. They think, if I just explain myself, she'll get it. If I apologize, she'll drop it. If I give her what she wants, she'll stop questioning me. But the opposite happens. The more he negotiates, the more she pushes. The more he seeks her approval, the more she doubts, because her unconscious mind isn't looking for compliance, it's looking for certainty. It's asking, can I rely on him when things get hard? Will he stand firm when I'm emotionally storming? Is he leading or just appeasing me? Beneath every test lies a silent scream, not of manipulation but of fear. Fear of abandonment. Fear of investing in a man who will crumble under pressure. Fear of loving someone who can't hold her darkest emotions without flinching. So the real question isn't, why does she test me? It's, what is she truly afraid of? And how can I prove without words that I'm the answer to that fear? This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding the why behind the test. The deep, often unconscious forces that drive her to challenge you. And if you've ever felt confused, frustrated, or powerless when she does this, what you're about to discover next will change everything. Because the secret isn't in passing her tests. It's in understanding them. She doesn't even realize she's doing it. That's the first thing you must understand. These tests aren't some calculated strategy. They're instincts rising from the oldest, most primal layers of the feminine psyche. To comprehend why women test men, we must descend into the shadows of human nature itself, where biology, evolution, and deep psychology collide. Imagine a woman 50,000 years ago. Her survival, and her children's survival, depended on one critical factor: the quality of her mate. Could he protect, provide, remain steadfast when famine, war, or predators threatened? Every test was a filter, a way to weed out the weak before nature did it for her. Fast forward to today. Civilization has changed, but the instinct remains. Modern women don't fear saber-toothed tigers. They fear emotional abandonment, financial instability, indecisive leadership. So the tests evolve, but the purpose stays the same. Are you the rock or just another pebble in the stream? Carl Jung warned us, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Most women have no idea why they test men. They feel a compulsion, anxiety masquerading as intuition, insecurity disguised as just asking questions. This is the shadow at work. The woman who picks fights after sex isn't being irrational, she's terrified of vulnerability. The woman who sabotages stable relationships isn't broken, she's subconsciously recreating past trauma to fix it. The woman who demands constant reassurance isn't needy, she's checking if you'll stay needy for her approval. These tests are projections, unprocessed fears hurled at men to see if they'll hold under fire. Here's where most men fail catastrophically. Friedrich Nietzsche saw it coming: the surest way to corrupt a man is to teach him to seek approval. When a woman tests you and you immediately apologize, beg for forgiveness, change your stance to please her, you fail the test. Not because she's cruel, but because your reaction confirms her deepest fear. This man can be swayed. If I push hard enough, he'll bend. And suddenly, her attraction evaporates. Because you've proven her unconscious right, you aren't solid. Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher of desire, understood this dance well. Romantic relationships aren't just about love, they're about power dynamics. Not domination but balance. When a woman tests you, she's unconsciously asking, "Do you have the strength to hold your frame when I lose mine?" Your response determines everything. If you crumble, she must take the masculine role, and resentment follows. If you react angrily, you confirm her fear of instability. But if you remain unshaken, calm, amused, unfazed, you trigger something primal in her nervous system: safety. Modern psychology loves blaming daddy issues, but that's lazy. The truth is darker, and more beautiful. Women test men because they must. It's not personal. It's not malicious. It's biological software running a compatibility check. Stress testing your emotional resilience: can he handle my storms? Assessing your leadership: does he know where he's going? Measuring your boundaries: will he stand firm or abandon himself to please me? This isn't manipulation, it's evolutionary wisdom. Aldous Huxley warned of a society that trivializes the profound and profanes the sacred. Look around. Modern feminism tells women, "You don't need a man," while their biology screams, "But I want a strong one." Dating apps create infinite options but destroy true intimacy. Men are taught to suppress masculinity rather than master it. No wonder the tests feel more frequent, more intense. Women aren't trying to be difficult, they're drowning in mixed signals, and their tests are lifelines thrown at men. Prove I can trust you in a world that's made trust impossible. Jean-Paul Sartre famously wrote, "Hell is other people," but he missed the nuance. The real hell? Needing someone's approval to feel whole. Most men walk into this hell willingly when they chase validation after failing a test, beg for another chance after she withdraws, alter their behavior to win her. But here's the tragic irony. The more you need her to stop testing you, the more she'll test you. Why? Because neediness is the ultimate test fail. Now you see the roots. This isn't about handling women, it's about understanding the invisible forces driving these tests. But knowledge without action is delusion. And what you're about to discover next will shock you, because the consequences of failing these tests don't just kill relationships. They kill her attraction for you on a biological level. There's a moment, invisible, irreversible, when something shifts inside her. It's not a thought, not a choice. It's something deeper, biological withdrawal. You won't see it happen, but you'll feel it. The texts get shorter. The eye contact fades. The sex becomes mechanical. She claims nothing's wrong, but everything is, because every failed test has been silently recorded by her nervous system. And now the verdict is in. This man cannot hold me. Attraction isn't negotiable. You can't reason with it. Can't beg for it. Can't nice guy your way back into it once it's gone. When a woman tests you and you flinch, seek approval, lose your center, her body responds with brutal efficiency, vagal shutdown. Science confirms this. Heart rate variability studies show women literally go numb around men who can't regulate their own emotions, so she has to seek reassurance instead of giving it, mirror her anxiety, amplifying it. It's not her mind rejecting you, it's her biology. And no amount of flowers, apologies, or promises can reverse it. Ever seen a woman who used to adore him, now roll her eyes at his every word? That's the resentment spiral in action. Here's how it works. She tests with a complaint, mood swing, or challenge. He fails by getting defensive, needy, or passive. She loses respect but stays, temporarily. Each new failure turns respect into resentment. Resentment becomes contempt, the relationship killer. Psychologist John Gottman calls contempt sulfuric acid for love. Once it sets in, the relationship is already dead. It just doesn't know it yet. Walk through any city at night. You'll see them. Men who did everything right. Remembered anniversaries. Listened to her problems. Gave her space, when needed, only to watch her leave for someone less nice but more exciting. These men don't understand. Their kindness wasn't the problem. Their weakness was. When a woman says you're too nice, she doesn't mean be cruel, stop caring. She means I never got to feel your strength. Modern feminism told women, you don't need a man. But their biology whispers, but I want one who could handle me if I did. This creates cognitive dissonance. She says she wants equality. She responds to primal strength. Result? A generation of women who test more aggressively to find rare strength, leave more quickly when tests fail, feel more alone even in relationships. Now flip the lens. Men aren't villains here, they're lost, conditioned into believing, if I love her enough she'll stop testing. False. If I explain myself logically she'll understand. Never happens. Good men don't get angry, so they repress and implode. The consequence? A generation of men with crippling anxiety from constant second-guessing, erectile dysfunction from overthinking, secret rage from unexpressed boundaries. Therapists won't tell you this. Self-help books avoid it. Instagram coaches reduce it to just communicate better. But you know, in your gut, that's not the answer. Because when she's in test mode, no amount of I statements or active listening will help. Because she's not speaking the language of words. She's speaking the language of nervous system signals. And most men are illiterate. This isn't hopeless. In fact, what you're about to discover is liberating. Because once you understand how to pass these tests, not by manipulation but by embodying unshakable strength, everything changes. Not just in your relationship, in your entire life. They told you the golden rule of relationships was to always put her first, to sacrifice, to accommodate, to bend until you break, all in the name of love. But here's the truth no one dares say. The more you prioritize her emotions over your own dignity, the faster she loses respect for you. This isn't cynicism, it's biological reality. Women don't fall in love with what you do for them. They fall in love with who you are when you're doing it. Most men confuse strength with loud opinions, dominance, stonewalling. But real strength is far more subtle. It's the quiet certainty of a man who doesn't panic when she's upset, doesn't negotiate his core values, doesn't seek her permission to exist. This isn't about controlling her emotions, it's about mastering your own. Let me break down the 3 subconscious tests women run, and exactly how to pass them with grace. First, the stress test. Her move? She creates drama or conflict. Maybe she picks a fight over something small. Your win? Stay calm. Stay present. Don't take the bait. Why it works? This triggers her biological safety response, proving you can handle emotional storms. Second, the frame test. Her move? She challenges your decisions, questions your judgment. Your win? Hold your position, but with warmth. No anger, no backtracking. The effect? This quietly confirms your leadership, exactly what her instincts are checking for. Third, the loyalty test. Her move? She withdraws affection, gives you the cold shoulder. Your win? Don't chase. Maintain your dignity. The message this sends? I value myself too much to beg for your attention, which ironically makes you more valuable in her eyes. Now, how do you actually apply this? The pause principle. When she tests you, wait just 3 seconds before responding. This tiny gap prevents 90% of needy reactions. Let the silence hold the tension. The non-defensive defense. Instead of saying you're overreacting, which escalates things, I hear you, then silence. This disarms the test without surrendering your ground. The amused mastery secret. When she's being bratty, a slight smirk, not mockery, just quiet confidence. This signals, I see your test, and I'm not threatened by it. That subtle shift changes everything. Modern relationships demand men share the emotional load, but there's a catch. When you absorb her anxiety, she feels less feminine. You drain your masculine energy. The attraction flatlines. The solution? Hold space without absorbing chaos. Like a lighthouse in her storm, present, unmoving, guiding without controlling. This isn't about returning to 1950s gender roles. It's about recognizing. Women today are starving for men who have a mission beyond her. Maintain boundaries with love. Offer stability without suffocation. When you embody this, something magical happens. Her tests become fewer. Her respect grows deeper. Her love becomes more passionate. Because finally, she feels safe to surrender. But none of this matters unless you grasp one final revelation, the key that ties everything together. Here's the punchline no relationship guru will tell you. The secret to passing her tests was never about her at all. All this time you thought you were being graded on how quickly you responded to texts, how thoroughly you remembered anniversaries, how perfectly you anticipated her needs. But the real test, the only one that ever mattered, was happening inside you this whole time. Can you remain unshakably yourself when everything tempts you to abandon yourself? Every spiritual tradition whispers some version of this truth. Taoism calls it Wu Wei, effortless action. Stoicism calls it virtue, alignment with purpose. Buddhism calls it Dharma, right way of being. For relationships, it translates to this. The more you need her approval, the less attractive you become. The less you need her approval, the more she's drawn to you. This isn't manipulation, it's universal law. When you stop performing for love, begging for validation, chasing reassurance, and start leading from conviction, loving from abundance, choosing from integrity, something alchemical happens. Her tests transform into trust. Her challenges become invitations. Her fears melt into devotion. Not because you changed her, but because you changed yourself. There comes a moment, after you've learned all the techniques, mastered the principles, when life presents the ultimate exam. Can you love her fully without needing her at all? This is the paradox that separates boys from men. Needy love suffocates. Generous love liberates. When you reach this place, her moods don't shake you. Her withdrawals don't panic you. Her tests don't intimidate you. Because you've discovered something more powerful than her approval. Your own unassailable wholeness. So the next time she tests you, when her eyes flash with challenge, when her words carry hidden thorns, when her silence feels like abandonment, remember this. She isn't your adversary. She's your sacred mirror, showing you where you still seek outside what can only be found within. And when you finally stand firm, not in resistance but in radiant authenticity, you'll understand why the ancients considered this the highest wisdom. The perfect man doesn't pass her tests. He transcends them entirely.